you've worked at LinkedIn as a product manager. I love LinkedIn. I probably have 4,000 connections. That's how I learn about people. How can we take better advantage of LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is a super powerful tool once you learn how to harness it. And I was part of the rotational program at LinkedIn, so I worked on 2 different teams during my time there. And so I'll first tell you about Profile, the identity team, which I think people know about, but really could do a much better job of improving their LinkedIn profiles. And the second one I'll talk about is the second team that I was on, which is LinkedIn Learning, our ed tech product, which I worked for 3.5 years on and feel very passionately about, and I think people should really take advantage of it. So the first one is LinkedIn Profile. It goes without saying that the more information you have on the profile, the more likely you're able to come up in search. The more keywords you have, the better. And so everyone should have a LinkedIn profile photo. There's stats out there that when you have a photo, you're like, don't quote me on this, but like 10 times more likely, something like crazy, 10 times more likely to show up in recruiter searches. Basically, every part of your profile should be filled out. What people don't do enough of is getting recommendations on their profile. And this one is super special because you're getting someone within your network who supposedly has credibility to vouch for you. So have you seen that section in the profile where you can get a former manager or a colleague to recommend you? I think it's super powerful. It's almost like a recommendation to get into the GSB in that way. If someone can speak about your skill, your talent, your competency on your behalf, it's that much more impactful. So fill out your profile, and if you can get people to recommend you, definitely do that. And for LinkedIn Learning...
And may I add one thing on the first one,
Please.
which is I look for people's hobbies, their interests. So I'm always impressed when somebody, because then I have something more to talk to them about when they talk about whether they're sports or they're artists.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm not in your class right now, Winning Writing. We'll get to that later. But I've heard from many of my classmates who are in your class that on the first day of class, you bring in the fun facts that you find on their LinkedIn profile, which I think is super special.
Yes, and not just, LinkedIn is a start. So you have to do your own reporting and you have to talk to your classmates. I get my information from other people too. But it starts with a good LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
I learned so much.
Is that the investigative journalist in you, trying to figure out more about the students in your class and who makes up the...
Yeah, I think so our classes have ranged from 40 to 70 students. And I don't like to go into a classroom with 70 people not knowing anybody. I want to know who each person is. Even if I won't recognize their face for the first month or 6 weeks, I want to know who they are.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't quite thought about it before. There's very rare scenarios where you're put in where you're in a situation of being with so many strangers and having to build over the course of many weeks relationships and potential relationships with each one of them. That doesn't really happen at work in that way. You build one-on-one relationships over time, but never so many people at once.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. Well, and yet when you start at a new place, at a new company, you could do something similar, which is slowly build the recognition of everybody.
Totally.
And then you were going to say ed tech.
Yes, and so I'll just wrap up saying LinkedIn Learning. I mean, having worked on that team for more than 3 years, seeing the behind the scenes of how they not only create the content, I call it nerd Hollywood because it is really lights, camera, action, green screen. There's an entire production studio in Carpinteria, so near Santa Barbara, where instructors go into film. There's sound editors, video editors. It's the real deal. And the production quality and also the educational architecture of the courses, they do it in a really structured way where they think from first principles, like how do people learn and how do we translate this information to the online world so people can take notes, learn with peers, have a community, have cohorts. And so I think as much as people can take advantage of LinkedIn Learning, there are free courses and obviously there are paid subscriptions for LinkedIn Learning, but I think it's a wonderful resource that people don't either know about or learning is hard because it's not entertainment and there's so many distracting things today. You really have to be in the mindset to want to learn. Otherwise, it's way too easy to go to Netflix.
Understood.
Yeah. Have you tried LinkedIn Learning?
I haven't. I'm aware of it. Now I'm more aware of it. So thank you.
I have a nano course on LinkedIn.
Oh,
Learning.
really?
Yes.
Okay.
So before I left LinkedIn, I am an instructor because I have a class on product management.
So what's the search word for the nano course?
I think it's like nano tips on product management with Cherie.
Okay, well, yeah. So Cherie alone. Okay, terrific.
Yeah.
I'll look it up. Okay.